In this video, I'm going to give you 28 years of brutally honest advice that if you follow will make you a fortune in real estate. Now, it's not going to be easy for you to do what I say because it contradicts what most other real estate coaches and brokers tell you to do. I spent the last couple of months working on this particular video. There are 22 points that I'm going to share with you, and I can tell you that point number 22 is as important as point number 1. They're not in order of importance, and I lay it all out for you here. If you want to succeed, if you want to take a lot of listings, sell a lot of homes, and help a lot of people, all you have to do is do what I say. Let's start. Point number 1. I have 8 pages of notes, a lot of notes. Like I said, I've been working on this for a while, so you're going to see me looking down. I want to make sure that I don't forget to tell you one single thing that I wrote down because they're all critically important. Point number 1 is, if you want to make money selling real estate right now, not 6 months from now or a year or 2 years from now, and you want to continue to make money consistently, you can't sit around and wait. You must in capital letters, look for business every day by talking to people that you don't know. Otherwise, you will not have listings. If you're new to real estate, write down what I'm saying because you're going to remember this if you start getting distracted doing everything else. And if you've been in real estate for a while, you already know this is true. You might have already noticed sellers that want to list their house are not gonna come knocking on your door, calling your sphere of influence, which is what most brokers tell you to do when you start. A lot of coaches tell you to do that. I'm not opposed to that, but if that's what you're going to do and that's all you're gonna do, you're calling your sphere of influence, meaning the people you know. And if you've been in real estate for a while, you could call your past clients. If you're new, you have no past clients. Well, this is a long-term process. You're building relationships, you're establishing yourself as an expert, and your sphere of influence is a limited number of people. You only know so many people. You can think about all you want, you can make all your lists, but it's a limited number of people. And for most real estate agents, it's limited to maybe a couple of hundred people. So once you talk to all of them, and maybe you find somebody who wants to sell now, maybe not. Maybe you get a referral, maybe not. What do you do then? If you don't learn how to sell and prospect for clients by talking to people you don't know. Here's the final brutally honest advice on point number 1. You're going to be looking for a real job real soon. Point number 2. You must start now. Stop telling yourself that you're new and you have no experience. Experience doesn't equal confidence. You don't need experience. You need confidence in order to succeed. And here's the great news. Confidence, being confidence, exuding confidence, is a decision you make to behave confidently. I'm going to explain this to you, okay? And this decision to behave confidently is infinitely more important for you to succeed than years in real estate. Acting confidently also makes up for a lack of skills. if you're new to real estate or if you're new to listening to me and you're not very skilled because you haven't put any effort and work into it, confidence, exuding and behaving confidently will make up for that lack of skill. I have a lot of clients currently, and I have coached a lot of real estate agents in my career. I'm talking tens of thousands, and a lot of them, unfortunately most of them, have been in real estate for years. They have some experience, or at least you think that they're supposed to, and they're broke, they're struggling, they're not making enough money, and many in the past and currently are considering their options, looking for a real job. And then I have clients currently, many of them brand new to real estate, never took a listing, never sold the house. They join my training, they do what I say. That's key. And they start taking listings immediately. And I'm saying immediately, like first week. They start taking listings, and they keep, as long as you keep doing what I say, they keep getting better, and they keep taking listings, and pretty soon they have an amazing business. So, experience. First of all, time in real estate. How many years someone has been in real estate doesn't mean they have any experience. I mean, there are agents that keep a real estate license for 5 years and they sold one home a year or none. So that doesn't say anything. Acting confidently and continuing to build your confidence by working on your mindset and your skills every day. That is the key. You learn by doing. You don't learn by thinking about it and waiting. You learn by doing. Point number 3. Most coaches tell you that 70% of your business comes from lead follow-up. That's a lie. Plain and simple. Top listing agents set appointments on the first call and for the same day. They're not out there getting leads. You're out there getting leads, and top listing agents are setting appointments on the first call and taking listings today. Remember that the purpose of cold calling or prospecting, talking to people you don't know, looking for business, is to set appointments. The goal, the purpose is not to get leads. You have to prospect for appointments and believe that you can set an appointment with everyone that you speak with. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Oh, but set an appointment with everyone that I speak with? Yes, you have to have that mindset and belief, because otherwise, why are you calling people if you don't believe you could set an appointment? Seems useless and meaningless to me. And with everyone, especially, this belief and mindset of setting an appointment, especially with the highly competitive FSBOs and expired listings. Why are FSBOs and expired so competitive? Meaning, why are there so many agents calling? Because it's immediate business. And agents, even the ones that don't want to make calls, they don't want to talk to anybody, they're like, I got to call these new expired listings because these people relist the property. I have to call for sale by owners. They want to sell the house. Now, the good news for you, if you decide to do what I say, is all of these agents are calling, but very few, maybe less than 1%, I mean like really very few, know what they're doing in terms of know how to communicate and actually set appointments. So technically you have no competition. Point number 4, do not preview properties. It's a waste of time, period. But there are a lot of coaches and brokers saying, go preview property. Call expireds, FSBOs, whoever, and ask them, if I have a buyer, will you work with me? Will you pay my commission? Why would you actually call a seller and ask them if they would pay you a commission if you bring a buyer when you are really looking for a listing. That's deceiving, plain and simple. You're lying to the seller and you're wasting your time unless you actually have a buyer. Most agents that are calling and saying that don't have a buyer. They want a listing and they're saying that to get their foot in the door. And then, because I've had this question asked of me so many times, if they say, oh, okay, yeah, you could come look at the house in case you have a buyer, the question is, well, you know, what do I don't really have a buyer, so once they tell me I can come see the house, like, how do I flip this conversation to a listing? I don't know. Go ask the person who's telling you to call them and tell them you have a buyer. I don't know the answer because I don't teach that. Learn how to convey your value so you could set a qualified listing appointment. That's what you should be doing instead of wasting your time and lying to sellers. Again, that's what top listing agents do. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, but I'm not a top listing agent, I'm new. Well, you won't be a top listing agent until you start behaving like one. Point number 5. You have to call new expired listings and for sale by owners if you want to take a lot of listings. But FSBOs and expireds are hard. No, they're not. Other agents are listing and selling them. You just have not put enough time yet to learn how to communicate with them effectively. That's it. They're not hard. You're just not that good yet. You can get good at it if you dedicate the time to learn how to communicate. The fact that you cannot convert them is a weakness at the moment. Think about this. When you solve that weakness, when you can transform that weakness into a strength, you're gonna dominate listings in your market, and you can do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you've been, what you've been through, what's going on in your life, what experience you don't have. You can do this. I know for a fact. Now, think about this. I was talking about preview on the previous point number 4. Other coaches tell you to go preview for sale by owners and then follow up for weeks and months. A lot. Maybe there's somebody out there that I don't know of, but every coach and broker and everything I hear them telling agents is FSBOs take a long time to list. There'll be leads. You're going to have to follow up for weeks and months. That's not true. That's simply a lie. That's another lie. FSBOs will list with the first agent that can show them how paying their commission makes sense financially. Period. End of story. Previewing and offering free help is a waste of your time, and it actually shows the seller that you have no self-worth. I'm helping you for free, I'm doing stuff for free, and it actually also shows the seller that you don't believe that they have any problems selling on their own that is costing them money that you can solve. I want you to think about this question. If you see one of your friends making an expensive mistake, wouldn't you tell them? So if you don't even know what I'm talking about, solving problems that cost FSBOs money, well, you're a real estate agent, you have a license, you want to take a lot of listings. This is stuff that you have to learn. Point number 6. if you're afraid of making calls and talking to people you don't know because you don't know what to say, we can solve that for you. First of all, download my script book for free. The link for you to download my script book is in the description of this video. So make sure you download my script book, because then you won't have an issue in not knowing what to say. Obviously, everybody starts there. I've been in real estate for 28 years, and when I started, I had no idea what to say. I learned. I put in a lot of time and energy in it, and I learned. It didn't take 28 years. It took about 3 to 4 years for me to feel like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing now. Starting to really like embody confidence. I had to fake it in the beginning. You have to act confidently even when you're not. And eventually, by putting in the time to learn, which is I already talked to you about that, you will become confident. So I wrote this down. Master the seller's objections. Sellers have objections. Master the responses. The good news is that there are not 1,000 objections for you to master. Expired listings have a handful of objections, really common ones that you're gonna hear all the time. Master them. Learn 2 to 3 responses for every single one. FSBOs have a handful of objections. You're gonna hear the same thing every time you call a FSBO. 2 or 3 responses to each of these objections. We're talking about 30, 5 times 3 if you learn 3 responses. And then go beyond learning. I said master the responses. That's gonna give you tremendous confidence, just knowing what to say. When they give you an objection, you're not like freaking out because you don't know what to do. Learn how to respond. What stops you from making progress on the calls that you make and the listing presentations you go on is your inability to overcome their objections. That is the obstacle. Figure it out. You can overcome that obstacle, and like I said earlier, it will become a strength, not a weakness for you. And I wrote down this example. Think about a pilot. They don't just learn the basics of flying a plane. Actually, a commercial pilot must go through 1,500 hours of training so they can handle any situation that may come up. You must do the same thing. Practice until it is impossible for you not to know how to respond. And at that point, I can tell you, you're gonna start loving making these calls. Oh my gosh, that's possible. Absolutely, because you know how to handle it. Doesn't matter what they say, you can overcome it. Point number 7. Agents say all the time, oh, I don't like scripts, because we're talking about learning what to say, right? Downloading my script book. I don't like using scripts. It's not how I speak. Well, agents don't like scripts. And if you fall into that category, think about what I'm going to say. You don't like scripts because you don't know them. And you don't know how to deliver them. Because knowing what to say is a small part of communication. And then you got to learn how to say it, because that is what makes the biggest difference. When you learn what to say and how to say it, that's it. You're going to have the confidence to actually make these calls and use the scripts. So here, oh, but I don't like it. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. Everything new that you take on is going to be uncomfortable. And it's never going to be comfortable if you don't use it, if you don't learn it, if you don't do it. Without proven effective scripts, which mine are, it's not just proven by me. I've coached thousands of clients. you're making stuff up as you go. So I don't want to use script. I'll just call and, I'll figure it out. Like when they say something, I'll make something up. How is that working out for you? I assumed not very well. Effective prospecting calls are scripted conversations. I trust you're taking notes. The more conversational you sound, the better your results will be. The more scripted you sound, the worse your results will be. If you read scripts to them, you're gonna sound scripted. In the beginning, you don't have a choice. It's new, you don't know them, you're learning. Go ahead, put them in front of you, read it to them. That's fine. If you are practicing every day, you're not going to be reading them for very long. You're going to memorize and internalize them and own them very soon if you're practicing every day. Everybody starts by reading scripts. I did. Everyone does. But if you choose, I said practice every day. If you choose to practice every day, you're gonna start sounding conversational very soon, and then that's when the fun starts, because now you're having a conversation. You're able to listen intently, and that's what effective communication is all about. Point number 8, don't use long-winded, ineffective scripts with questions that sellers are not interested in answering. And that's most scripts out there, except for mine. My expired script is 1 line. What do you mean 1 line? Yeah, it's 1 line. Download the script book, you'll see. My FSBO script is like, 4 or 5 sentences. That's it. Very short, sweet, to the point. My scripts are direct, clear, and concise. They address the seller's concerns from the very beginning of the conversation. By being direct, you're not wasting people's time rambling. And nobody's interested in answering a call from a real estate agent that they don't know, a complete stranger that they don't really want to talk to, and just be interrogated with a bunch of questions. They have no interest in that. So quit doing that. And when you use my scripts, people won't say to you, well, why are you asking all of these questions? What do you want from me? And I'm busy, click. You won't get that anymore. And now, when you look at my scripts, I'm sure they'll make sense to you. I'm sure, because they do make sense. They're just logical. But you may not like it because they're direct. And you're like, oh, but I have to say that? I'm not confident. You already know what to do about your lack of confidence. And if you don't feel comfortable, which you won't because it's new when you start using my scripts, and then you decide to, I'm gonna combine scripts. I'm gonna take a little bit of Jackie's scripts, and then I'm gonna take this other script here that makes no sense, a bunch of like useless questions they don't want to answer, so I'll mix it up a little bit. Don't do that. That makes no sense. You're just getting off track. You're not gonna get better at this by doing it the wrong way. When you use my scripts, even if you sound scripted, you're uncomfortable, which in the beginning you will, you're gonna set appointments and you're gonna take listings. I have clients doing it every day that are brand new. You can do it too. Point number 9. I love this point. You are in the business of communicating. That's how you make money, communicating with people. And it goes beyond just communicating. The more effectively you communicate, the more money you make. That's the bottom line. Developing high-level communication skills will make you a fortune. And that should be a priority for you every single day. Point number 10, use a listing presentation that focuses on how you will solve the seller's problems. They have problems. If your presentation is anything other than solving those problems, again, you're wasting their time and you're wasting your time. Write this down. What's in it for them? Not what's in it for you. That's not what it should be about. It should not be about you needing a listing so you could pay your bills. It should be about them, not about you. Don't talk about you, your company, all your awards and certifications and designations. Oh yeah, but I have a great track record. Briefly. And you could actually insert and say certain things if you have a great track record and your company or whatever, while you're talking about how all of this is going to benefit them. The truth is, sellers are not interested. They don't care all your experience and your company, how big it is, and all the courses you've done and all that stuff. What they care about is, how is all of that gonna help me do what I want to do? How is it gonna help me achieve my goals? So what's in it for them? That has to be the focus. Sellers are asking this question: can you solve my problem? And the number one problem that every seller has is the answer to this question: can you sell my home for the most money possible in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle? That's what, across the board, what sellers want to know from you. And then I wrote this down. 99% of listing presentations don't differentiate you and your company from everybody else, what all other agents are doing. It's like the same thing. I remember when I got into real estate, my broker taught me a listing presentation that took about 2 hours. I got to show all this stuff, 20 years ago, like papers and a folder and all this stuff. Like, literally put sellers to sleep. Please don't do that. They're not interested in that. Can you sell my home for the most money possible, least amount of time with the least amount of hassle? So master your listing presentation. As a matter of fact, master my listing presentation. It's in the script book that you're going to download for free. Wow them at the appointment and leave no doubt that listing with you is the best decision they can make. When you start taking this approach and this mindset and attitude with you on listing appointments, it's game over. My listing presentation is 20 minutes. Could it take longer? Sure. If they have a lot of questions, of course you're going to answer. But it's a short, to the point presentation focused on what's in it for them. And sellers, again, are not interested in spending 2 hours listening to a bunch of blah, blah, blah that makes no sense to them. Point number 11. They want a professional, not a friend. Sellers don't care if you have a dog too, or if you love fishing like they do, or you love their decoration, or whatever else real estate agents are doing on these appointments, thinking that, oh yeah, I wanna build rapport. Like, what in the world are you doing? Can you imagine walking into a doctor's office with a horrible headache, and this doctor starts making small talk with you, and they spend like 10 minutes, just like, oh, how have you been? And what, oh my gosh, like you walk in a seller's house, you could actually relate to everything they have, right? A doctor starts asking you a bunch of questions totally unrelated as to why you're there. It doesn't happen. That's never going to happen. Professionals don't do that. So why would you? Again, they're looking for a professional, not a friend. And I trust you're looking for clients. You're not looking for friends on your listing appointments either. Point number 12. Marketing doesn't sell homes. Marketing can get a lot of attention, but price, it's what sells properties. And this is critically important because there's so much gimmicky stuff out there, do this and that to market properties. Great. Yeah, it can help exposure, the prospecting you do, it's all helpful. But I wrote this down. There's not enough amount of marketing that's going to sell an overpriced property. And well-priced properties will sell with no marketing. Sit with that one for a little bit. Point number 13. Don't tell sellers what to list at, meaning what price to list their property at. Help them understand what their property is worth and that pricing the home correctly is in their best interest. Use market stats. Well, to use them, you gotta know them, you gotta look for them, and you gotta know them. Use market stats and as evidence of it's in their best interest to price the home correctly. There's a lot of evidence in every market. The longer a property sits on the market, the bigger the gap between the list price and the sales price. Help them understand that. Have a well-prepared market analysis so they can clearly see what you see as to how much this property needs to be priced at. This is really important because when they understand and they tell you what they see based on evidence and market conditions and market stats, now they own the price. And when they own the price, they don't argue with you about it. Plain and simple. Number 14, mindset, meaning your thoughts, your beliefs, so what's going on in your head is everything. If you don't believe in yourself, they're not going to believe in you either. How are you going to convince somebody of something you don't believe in? I don't believe in myself, but I'm calling you and I want to go meet with you to have you believe that I can do this job for you, but I don't believe in myself. It's like illogical. It defies logic in every way. And if you don't believe in yourself, again, they're not going to trust you to handle the sale of one of their biggest assets. For most people, their biggest asset. So it's not going to happen, which means that you want to make a fortune selling real estate? You can. But you're going to have to work on your mindset consistently every single day. As Zig Ziglar says, it's like taking a shower. You have to do it every day. Point number 15. Do not go on unqualified listing appointments. This ties in a little bit with what I told you earlier, one of the first points of not going to preview properties. You must pre-qualify every appointment. My pre-qualifying script is in the script book that you're going to download at the end of this video. Don't do it in the middle of the video, at the end. What is a qualified listing appointment? It's one where the seller understands that you are going there to show them why they should list the property with you. It's that simple. That's what you're doing there. You're not going there for anything else. Qualifying an appointment doesn't mean that the seller is committing to list with you. It means that they're willing to consider listing with you if, and this is a big if, you can show them that they will be better off by paying you than doing anything else. When you pre-qualify effectively, and my script are the basic questions, by the way, you're in control of this appointment, because think about it. They're willing to consider, let me say this again, they're willing to consider listing with you if you're able to convince them they're better off paying you than not paying you. If at the end of your appointment, they're thinking, you're like every other agent that I've spoken with and met with, or I can do what you do, you didn't earn their business and they should not pay you to do nothing. Because that's what they're thinking. It's like, what are you going to do? Nothing. I mean, every agent does the same thing. I can do all the things you're going to do. So yeah, no, I'm not going to pay you. And you shouldn't expect them to. Every listing appointment, I love this point, is a yes until you turn them into a no. The fact that they agree to meet with you and they said, sure, yeah, come over today at 4 o'clock, it means that they are a yes. If they were a no, they wouldn't have given you the appointment. If you are unprepared, unconfident, and hesitant, you will turn them into a no. So you are in control of the outcome. How you show up determines whether they list with you or not. And I want to tell you a quick story. This actually happened to me about 7 years ago. I decided that I wanted to buy a Tesla. I walked into a Tesla store. My son was with me. I had already decided. Before I walked in, I had already decided. I didn't need to drive the car. I didn't really have any questions. I'm like, okay, what do I do here so I can get the car? And the salesperson turned me into a no. I ended up walking out without the car, and I never got the Tesla. I don't drive a Tesla, and now I'm not even interested in it. But back then, I wanted it. I walked in there to get it. They turned me into a no. How? I was thinking about this. I even asked my son, I said, do you remember like what exactly happened that day? They talked too much. They talked too much about things that I was not interested in. I didn't care. I didn't really want to know. They started giving me way too many, like, oh, you can lease, you can buy, you could do this, you could do that. I didn't ask any of that. They just, again, put their foot in their mouth, and they wasted a lot of my time. And then all of a sudden, I started feeling and thinking, maybe I'm not supposed, I started getting like this weird feeling, like questioning what I had gone in there to do. And I thought, maybe I'm not supposed to get this car. And that's it. I walked out and I never did. And don't do that on the appointments that you're going on. Number 16. Develop versatility. I have a lot of notes on this particular point. What is versatility? It's you being able to adapt. Adapt to everything. Adapt to anything. Adapt. It's like being a chameleon. You know that animal, reptile, whatever a chameleon is, that like changes color based on the environment? Adapt. Now, write these things down. I trust you've been writing everything down, because it's all very important if you want to succeed and make a fortune as a listing agent. talking to everyone the same way doesn't work. And this is not about the scripts, because you have to use the scripts, and my scripts work. It's the how you're delivering the scripts. You can't talk to everyone the same way. People want to feel heard and understood. Every human being does. And you have to meet them where they're at. They're not going to meet you where you're at, like, oh, this is how I am, this is how I talk. No, you have to meet them where they're at in order to build rapport and have the ability to influence them. And adapting to build rapport and being able to influence them, it's not manipulation. I've actually had clients, well, like it sounds like manipulation. No, it's not. It's artistry. It's being an artist. And it requires you to let go of your self-importance and your ego. Well, this is how I am. This is how I talk. And this is, gotta let go of all of that to be able to adapt and be versatile. And that's what highly skilled communicators do. Highly skilled listing agents, that's what they do. They adapt. In a selling situation, you must do the same, because people behave differently, especially when they're frustrated. If you've ever called a brand new expired listing, oh, they're not happy people. They're frustrated, they can be hostile, they sound angry. That doesn't mean that they're all the time like that. They're in a particular state at that moment. And your ability to mimic and match, I'm going to talk more about this in just a minute. Mimic and match, adapt in that moment is going to cause you to build rapport. What is rapport? I know what it is, but I wanted to find a definition that you can clearly understand. Rapport is when they feel comfortable with you. Because when you call a new expired and they're frustrated, angry, and hostile, they're not comfortable speaking with you. And in that moment when they answer the phone, hello, what do you want? You're not comfortable either. When you're able to mimic and match instantaneously, you're able to build rapport where they feel comfortable, they feel heard, understood. You don't have to say much. It's just mimicking and match their rate of speech, the emotion, the volume of their voice. And all of a sudden they the walls come down, meaning their emotional resistance and defenses to you are lowered. And now you're able to influence, you're able to lead. Rapport precedes your ability to influence. So this is a critical skill. You don't need to worry about, oh, but how about personality styles? Are they a driver? They're an analytical. People shift depending on the situation. If they're angry, if they're frustrated, they're stressed, they can present themselves in different personality styles. And if you talk to a brand new expired and they sound like a driver personality, of course people have personality styles. You don't need to worry about that. Because if you start talking to them as a driver and all of a sudden they get analytical and they start asking you questions and stats and what, and you still talking to them in that same way that you determine they are, you're gonna lose them. And you're not even, and by the way, when you call somebody you don't know and they answer the phone, hello, you're gonna tell me that you can determine their personality style just by them saying hello? It's impossible. You can, however, mimic and match based on a simple hello, their emotion, their rate of speech, the volume of their voice, and when you learn how to do this effectively, it's magical. It's like you immediately, they calm down, they're like, at least they take a breath. They may give you objections because they don't know who you are and they don't want to talk to real estate agents, but they're not hanging up on you instantaneously. Number 17, don't do open houses. Here's why. It's a passive approach that attracts mostly buyers. If you want to be a listing agent, why would you want to be doing stuff to attract buyers? Number 2, the few buyers who may walk into an open house are not ready, willing, and able. The majority, very few, in essence, are ready, willing, and able, about 4%. And so 96%, they're just looking around, wasting time. And the small percentage that are ready, willing, and able are generally not going to buy the first house they walk into. So now, if you happen to get a buyer, imagine 4 out of 100 who's ready, willing, and able, they're not going to buy that house. So you're wasting the seller's time because you're looking for business so you can sell them something else. Number 3, reason why not to do them. By prospecting Monday through Friday for 4 hours a day, which is what I tell my clients to do, you will be consistently finding buyers and sellers, because you're prospecting for sellers. And you're going to find buyers too. You're not looking for them, but you're going to find them. And you're not opening the seller's house to unqualified strangers off the street, which you should be concerned about your safety and their safety and the safety of their belongings. And then the last reason why not to do open houses is sellers, if they want to, they could do that on their own. They don't need to list with you and hire you to do something that they can do. Now, they're not going to spend 4 hours a day looking for buyers and sellers. And that's what active and aggressive agents do. Point number 18, choose to have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is based on and focused on survival. You know, I'm desperate, I need a listing, I need a commission, I gotta pay my bills. Fear of change, you know, I wanna keep everything status quo, you know, I feel comfy here. And it's also being a victim. Well, your interest rates are high, you know, it's an election year and you know, the market is slow. Victim, like all of that, has nothing to do with your ability to list and sell a lot of homes. It's blaming outside circumstances, whether it's a situation or even people, yeah? Your broker, your partner, your family, other agents, I don't know, whatever. You know, people with a fixed mindset, anything and everything to them is an excuse or a reason not to succeed. Having a growth mindset means that you take full responsibility for everything. Everything. You're the one that can actually control the outcome because you take responsibility. In essence, whatever needs to be done, do it yourself and do it now. That's someone with a growth mindset. Oh, but I don't know what to do. People with a growth mindset, they find the answers. They go figure it out. They don't sit around like, oh, you know, poor me. Nobody is helping me. I don't know what to do. The answers are out there. All of them are out there. Go find them. Point number 19. Don't be a jack of all trades and master of none. Stop looking for the magic answer that will make you a lot of money with little effort. I wrote this down. There is no free lunch. Focus on mastering the skills and the mindset of top productive and profitable listing agents, and refer buyers out. You can't be a jack of all trades. You're a listing expert or you're a buyer expert. You're a listing specialist or a buyer specialist. You choose. You're not going to be able to do both at a high level anyway. You just know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you get distracted, and you're not going to go anywhere. So on the topic of there's no free lunch, there are a couple of quotes I want to give you. Napoleon Hill quote, "There is no such thing as something for nothing. You can have everything you want if you are willing to pay the price." There's a price to be paid, and that's putting in the time, energy, and effort to build the skills, to develop the mindset of top listing agents. That's the price. And another quote on this for you: "There are no shortcuts to any place worth going." So quit looking for the magic answer. It doesn't exist. You gotta pay the price, and when you do, you'll be rewarded over and over and over again for it. Number 20, we're almost done. Failure leads to success. Failure is actually an opportunity. I failed on 95% of my prospecting calls. And I'm talking about around starting my 4th year in real estate, when I was already selling 100 homes a year and I was feeling like I knew what I was doing. At that point, I failed on 95% of my prospecting calls, meaning 95% of the people I talked to did not set an appointment with me. I talked to approximately, because I tracked my numbers, 20 people a day. They were all expireds and FSBOs. 20 new conversations a day around my 4th year in real estate. In the beginning of my real estate career, I was talking to hundreds, 400 people a week, and very little results. Okay, so I'm talking about here. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm selling 100 homes a year, and still 19 of the 20 conversations I had every day was a no, to get one yes. So, I mean, you could focus on thinking, "Whoa, my gosh, 19 no's. Well, that's failure." Or you can think, every no gets me closer to a yes. The failure is what makes you grow, is how you learn and get better. There's just no other way. You don't grow, get better, and succeed. Like, there's no such thing as like every call is a success. It's impossible. Nobody can do that. The only way to get better is going through massive amounts of failure. The process may make you feel like you are failing, but you're not. You're on the path to success. And when you have the mindset of learning and getting better every day, success will come. There's no questions about that. It will come. You just have to go through the process. Point number 21 is actually really short. Don't expect anything from anyone. Whatever needs to be done, do it yourself and do it now. Meaning, no procrastination. You gotta get things done. Top listing agents are doers. And the last one, number 22, it's related a little bit to a previous point. Don't blame the market. Don't blame your broker. Don't blame your family. That's being a victim. Victims don't have any power. When you're a victim and you're blaming something outside of you, you're giving away all of your power. You have no control of your business. It's like, "Oh, how do I take listings? How do I get paid?" I don't know, you keep blaming things outside of yourself. It's not going to happen. Take responsibility for absolutely everything in your life. Highly successful people. This is very similar to the previous point here, but I just want to just leave you with this thought because it is the most important one. If you're not willing to take full responsibility for absolutely everything, you're not going to do anything I said. As I warned you in the beginning, I know it's not going to be easy because you're hearing all kinds of different people in positions of authority telling you the opposite of what I told you. You got to make a choice. I am confident that when you follow the steps, you do what I say, and understand it's not going to happen overnight. That would be the free lunch. There is no such thing. If you're consistent and you're committed in doing what I told you to do, you are going to have tremendous success. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you put your comments or questions below, and I'll see you on the next one.